Hey guys, thank you everybody for joining us today. Lovely Tuesday here in the Northeast. Actually join you guys from Harvard Stadium, if you can't tell with the virtual background. Cool feature on Zoom here, and definitely taking advantage of it. So for my talk today, I'm going to explore the difference or the different defenses and man down defenses that are played against the man up, and how we can exploit and attack those defenses. And to give us the best advantage that we possibly can have. So three of the defenses that are most man down defense that are most commonly played are a 4-man, where they will lock the crease and rotate 4 guys around, a 5-man, where they will rotate 5 men to cover all 6 spots, and then also what some teams will call a house rotation, or it's either an M or a W, depending on how you look at the board. So with that being said, I want to get to 2 clips from the PLL Chaos and Redwood game, 2 clips from us in practice, open it up to some questions. And when we go through these clips, I'll be making some points both offensively and defensively here. And hopefully you guys come prepared with questions at the end of this. So as we start this one, we're going to start off Woods extra man offense right here. And so one thing that I like to do, and I recommend coaches to do this, is you're going to want to know how the man down is playing you guys. And, you know, sometimes you'll know this before you go into a game. Sometimes you won't. All right. But here you can tell that this short stick is inside. All right. And you're going to see, 4 poles, all right, from the Chaos. Kind of those guys are working on the perimeter right now. All right. So it kind of looks like it might be a 4-man. All right, but you're not totally sure yet. Here, all right, you're going to see him stay inside and wait for Westberg to fill to the crease. All right, now this movement here will tell you that they're in a 4-man rotation to start, but once we see this short stick rotate off the crease, all right, then we know that they're in a 5-man rotation, and there's a different way to exploit that than a 4-man. All right. So on this carry, I believe that this is Joe Walters here. When he carries, and you're going to see a little 4-man wheel right here. All right, so Kyle Harrison's going to kind of fade. Matt Cavanaugh is going to replace behind. And Westberg's going to fill to the crease. All right, this is a very tough offensive action right here to cover from the team in white, because you have 4 guys moving, and you want to make sure you account for all those guys. Meanwhile, you have a guy like Ryder Garnsey down low, and you have Jules down here on this right-hand pipe. So if you want to rotate up defensively off of either one of these 2 guys, they're going to make you pay. And you're going to see that here in a second. So when they press a carry, and my best advice to anytime you see a carry that gets pressed is to just push the ball forward immediately. All right, Joe Walters does a great job of that in this instance. And again, you can see that there's 22 seconds left on this man down, so a 30-second penalty. You want to kind of attack a little bit quicker than you will if there's a 1-minute penalty. So when they carry here and Newman goes to press this is a great job providing an out here and not drifting to irrelevancy and allowing Brody Merrill to cover him. All right, but when he just stays high, that allows this pass. And you can see, one, this is great body language here from Matt Cavanaugh, because he really wants that ball. And you can see that this lane, all right, this is a massive lane right here that is opened up because Newman pressed the ball and that Joe Walters got the ball out of his stick quick. All right, now this skip pass becomes very easy to make. And you guys can see you have 1 offensive player with a 2nd offensive player against 1 defenseman right here. All right, so we want to be able to exploit the 2v1 at any point throughout this entire man up. All right. Now, if I think this is Jack Rowlett low, say he stayed on this side, really expecting a throwback, and he cheated this, then we'd have the 2v1 right here with Jules Henningberg, Kyle Harrison, and Brody Merrill. All right, so we make the right read here to skip the ball through. All right, now one thing that we need to understand is that these players in the PLL have an unbelievable skill set. All right, we can see that this guy here is pretty open. He's doing a great job of coming up the field to meet it right now. All right, and Jules also does a great job of not becoming irrelevant and fading behind the cage. All right, when that happens and this guy rotates upfield, it creates a read for Cavanaugh right now. All right. He wants to read, is this guy rotating over or is he staying on this side of the crease? All right. When he makes his decision to fly over a rider, it opens up this skip lane through right down to Jules. And this is an unbelievable pass by Matt Cavanaugh. It gets through, and he's able to dip and dunk and score. All right. That's one variation of an extra man. I have a second clip here, and I wanted to show you guys both from the sideline and now from the end zone, from the PLL chaos. All right. And this is, again, now you can see, all right, 50 seconds left on the man up, a little bit longer here. So this is a huge, time gap that we have here. So as the ball gets moving, again, you can see all 5 guys on the perimeter in white touch the ball, which makes these guys in green have to work a little bit harder right now. It gives the white team the answer right now that allows them to know how the defense is playing. All right. What we're going to see here is a carry, all right, and a replace, all right, and allowing Miles Thompson to find space inside. All right. So when Connor Fields carries, all right, he's reading if this guy rotates or do they stay with, and how do they rotate behind it. All right. So Connor Fields is able to use the goal as a shield right now to buy him time to have his hands free and be able to make a decision. All right. When he carries here, you can see. All right. So you have one guy committed here, one guy committed here, all right, and this guy's staying on this back side of the cage. All right. When Neer does a great job and comes all the way down to help support this cut, it allows Eddie Glazner to rotate over to this front side of the cage. All right. At that point, you can see in white, all right, we now have 1, 2, 3, and 4 guys on this side of the field, all right, which is creating 4 guys in green on this half of the field as well as Glazner starts to come over. All right, so this guy is option A probably. All right, option B for a step down right here if they, royally mess up here defensively. All right, and then if this guy flies out and this guy's helping down, it's going to open up that skip lane right through to Miles Jones right there. All right, so that's probably option number 3. All right, when the ball moves, all right, this is a great time for Miles Thompson to recut and make sure that the defense is respecting him. All right, because when he comes high, all right, and this guy were to look, all right, we might be able to see this skip pass right here, number 27, that we just saw with Matt Cavanaugh and Jules Hemingberg. All right. Now when the ball gets top center, and this is what we want to see is how the defense is playing. All right, so in green we have 1, 2, and 3 guys that are high. All right, so we know that our numerical advantage is with this 3-on-2 down low. So we want to try and exploit and find this numerical advantage as best that we possibly can. All right, that doesn't mean that the ball has to stay low with these guys. It just means that these 3 guys need to move and be in a plain difference where Eddie Glazner can't guard both Connor Fields and Miles Thompson, and Matt Landis can't guard both Miles and Buchanan here. All right. Now, what Miles Jones is able to do here with his hands is very important, and I want everybody to pay attention to this because this is what helps open up the skip pass here that we're going to see in a second. All right. That little pump fake right there. All right. And he uses his eyes and he uses his hands to really fool the defense to move this way. So we'll see Neer take 1 step this way. All right. We'll also see Sexton try and pick off this pass. All right. One thing that we don't want to have happen is for Miles Jones to stand here flat-footed and throw this pass, all right, and allow John Sexton, who's really good at picking off these passes, to create a transition opportunity and go the other way with it. That's the last thing that we want to have happen right now. All right. So that little pump fake right there really freezes, and then he comes back to reset himself. All right. So at this point, you'll see how the green defense is really reacting. I'm going to let this play all the way through, and it really opens up that skip pass. All right. One term that a lot of people have been using recently, and this is definitely a situation that this can happen, all right, is right now Miles Thompson's pretty open. All right. This is a pretty tough pass for him to put it in here for Miles Thompson to score. All right, but one thing that we can do is we can throw the ball in here to Miles Thompson, and Miles can look to kick it out to Connor Fields here. He can look to kick it out to Buchanan here, and he can also look to kick it out to the left-hand shooter in this spot right now. All right, so just because this guy's in here, all right, does not mean that we don't want to throw it to him. All right, we want to make sure that we're seeing him. If they're not covering him, he's going to be the open guy, and we want to make sure that we're exploiting that defensively. All right, so here Miles Jones throws the skip pass. All right, puts it just outside this guy's body. All right, and at this point, a little bit of situational awareness, and this is no disrespect at all to the Chaos guys. All right, these guys can make this play, 9 times out of 10. I know Coach Bergman just used this and talked about the goaltending in this clip. All right, but here, all right, you can see again. All right, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys in green on this side of the field. All right, if you were to escape right now and throw this pass, all right, that could potential for a 2-point goal here in a 9-6 game is a huge opportunity for the team in white. All right, now they go with what they got. They get a great shot off. Unfortunately, they don't win the shot to the end line. All right, so that's just a couple things that I saw from this game. I'm going to stop the screen share here for a second. All right, one thing that I want to talk about before I get into the drill here is to give you guys a little bit of insight into how some man downs are played and what's your answer for an offense. All right, so if you see anybody with a 4-man rotation, all right, with a short stick that's locking the crease, that's a great opportunity that you're going to be able to find a throwback, or you're going to be able to get one of the 2 guys on the pipes. All right, if it's a 5-man rotation, whether that's going to be where we're going to be able to find the ball inside. All right, I think those are going to be the opportunities that most of you guys will see in your high school seasons. All right, the house rotation is something that's was big a couple years ago. It's kind of fading off a little bit now, where they leave one guy high that's responsible for the guy top center in the skip lane from the righty shooter to the lefty shooter. That is again another opportunity for a pump and throw back to where the ball came from, and I think that's a great opportunity for. It's a skill set that can be developed at a young age. And if you really sell that pump fake and you throw back, good things can come from that. All right. So one thing that we're going to do is I'm going to talk about a drill that we actually did in one of our last couple practices. I'll talk about it on the whiteboard here, and then I have 2 clips of it from practice. And hopefully you guys enjoy this. And we'll talk about 3 different variations of the drill that we can do. All right. So all right, so here we go. We're going to call this the 8-meter 3x2 or 3v2s. All right, so how this is going to be set up is you can do this with tennis balls, you can do this with lacrosse balls, whatever you prefer. All right, if you have a goalie in the cage, it might be more worthwhile to do it with a tennis ball so that they don't get completely destroyed, like Coach Bergman was just talking about. But also at the same time, it is a very different weight in your stick, so it might be a little bit different. So how this will work, we have 3 offensive guys on the perimeter, 2 guys on the inside. And what we're doing right now is we are using the women's 8-meter arc. And that is a great kind of area that we can use. And not all fields have it, but most fields do. And if you're just on a regular field, taking the regular crease and going about 10 yards, and kind of having some cones, it puts a perimeter of where the offensive guys can go. All right. And we gave our guys a little bit of instruction that they can move pretty freely along the arc. They can go a yard or 2 outside or inside. All right. But what they can't do is they can't come all the way down to here. All right. Because we want to make this realistic. So right now we're trying to find, we have a 3v2 across the top. So the man down team that we're getting ready for has 2 guys that stay up high and they play these 3 guys. And we want to make sure that we're exploiting that as best we possibly can. All right. So, say I'm here with a ball. All right. I might throw it out here to this offensive player. All right. And he's going to step into the arc and try and see how this defense is playing. All right. So if defender 1 rotates, all right, and plays him, all right, we have one rule that we talk about with our man up guys. And, I'm definitely willing to share it, is we call it a 2-step follow. All right, so if the second offensive player, if he just stands still right now, all right, he's going to make it very easy for the second defender to play both him and the third offensive player. All right, so if he shifts where he is 2 steps this way, All right, it's going to allow this pass to be at an easier angle. All right, it's also going to give him the answer. If this guy flies out defensively, it's going to open up this skip pass here to the third offensive player on the backside. The ball can go into either one of these three guys, and they're able to play this out. All right. One variation that we will get to, all right, and I want to talk to you guys about it, is we can throw the ball here to this offensive player right here, and he can actually carry, all right, and this guy will actually replace, all right, behind this defender. All right, now we're trying to simulate. We give a little bit of movement. All right, now it makes our read a little bit easier. If this guy stays with, we can either throw the ball forward and skip it through like we saw with the Redwoods, all right, or we can step away and throw the ball back, all right, just to kind of make this pass a little bit easier. All right, and one thing that you guys can see right now is that the cage is angled like it normally would be on game day. All right, a way that we can tweak this a little bit is to actually put this on a different angle and rotate it about 45 degrees. All right, and now this pipe is parallel. It's kind of right on this line here. All right, so now what we're simulating is a 3v2 on the right-hand side of the field. All right, where this is our low right guy. All right, this might be a guy that we put just in between this, and this is our top center guy that kind of followed over in like a little bit of a drag look. All right, so now we're able to exploit on this side, and then we will flip it and go the other way and do it for our lefties on that same side. All right, it doesn't have to be just the righties and just the lefties. This is a great drill to have your guys moving all over the field where they can learn different skill sets. All right, if you're the second offensive guy up here, one thing that you can do to help manipulate the defense right now is you can throw a pump fake and then throw back. You can pump, spin, and throw back, all right, the whole 9 yards. You also have an opportunity, like we just saw with Miles Jones, is to look off with your head and just have your eyes face this way, and then you'll be able to throw that, pass right back. All right, I got 2 clips from our practice. All right, and this is one thing that we did this with offensive guys, all right, in our practice because we had a handful of guys down there. But this was a drill that I really liked, and we did this with tennis balls, and it's a great drill that you can do with offensive guys playing defense, or you can have it with defenders playing defense. All right, so as I get to the clips here. So as I get to the clips here, again, you can see right now we have Kyle Anderson in attackman, Austin Madronic in attackman. These guys are probably playing right now how no defensive coach probably wants them. All right, they've got one hand on their stick flying around. All right, so we told them that they could do that just so that they can see why that's not the right way to play. All right, as this is happening, all right, you can see Kyle Salvatore right now. He does a good job of following 2 steps. All right, to really create this as a difficult approach for Kyle Anderson. And these guys are right on, all right, the red arc. All right. Again, this footwork probably isn't great here from Kyle Salvatore. All right, but this is a good job by Miles making this a really easy pass. All right. When that's being said, this guy is flying across the field. All right, and we're seeing how the team in white is rotating to the team in white or team in red. All right, this is a great skip pass. All right, he's an unselfish player right here. All right, another unselfish play. All right, and when you guys get to a spot on the field where you trust your range and your hands, all right, you're able to just put a shot on cage. Should hopefully be a goal every single time. All right, so these guys right here, and from a man-up perspective, you don't have to work for the first good shot. You want to work for a really, really good shot and a great shot. All right, so these guys, they pass up 2 good shots to get a great shot. All right, one more clip here. All right. Ball's thrown in here to the side to a right-handed guy. Again, White's on defense again. All right, he's kind of low looking to pick off a pass. All right, so we make the easy play. All right, and now right now, Ryan Graff, all right, he's looking with his hands and his eyes. All right, how's the defense playing? All right, we get the ball here to the backside. Really selling shot. Great job by Ryan Graff rotating over here. All right, handling, stepping to his target. All right, and this is a great job by Mark Stevens. All right, following right into this gap to increase his angle. And again, passing up 2 good shots for a great shot. All right, this is a heck of a recovery. All right, but like we saw last week with our shot show, all right, that's going to be kind of the approach, and we're able to put that in a really, really good location on cage. All right. So kind of want to open it up to some question and answer right now. If anybody has any questions, whether it's a man up play, a concept of man up, man down, or whatever it might be, I want to open it up to you guys. So if you guys have something in the chat, go ahead and fire away. All right, so we got 3 questions here. So a lot of teams run man down with a crease man on a string. Advice. All right, so my advice with the string, and this is to Kevin Preston, and I'll try and get through all of these questions here. Coach Kyle is going to hop on here and talk about some stringing here in a second. But my advice for the string is to get the ball top center and try and get the ball high and really have that guy. If you have a guy that can stretch a defense, because that defender's job is to get the high guy and the crease guy. So if you can get the ball from the top center guy and put a feeder either in the top lefty shooter or the top righty shooter spot, you can get that guy high, stretch him, move the ball quickly, and then look inside. So you'll be able to get a feed from the inside guy. And the other thing that you'll be able to get is if you get the ball down to the 2 pipe guys, so the righty and lefty feeders. So if you go back to the Redwoods clip, whether it's Ryder Garnsey or Jules Heningberg, if you get the ball down to those 2 guys and then a hard cut from Wes Berg, that'll open up the skip pass to Joe Walters, top center. So hopefully that answers your question there, Preston. Do you like guys rotate on-off crease and vary the number inside to Steve Moreland? So Steve, to answer your question, I like a little bit of movement, no matter what with the man up. I feel like when you get really static in a 3-3, the defense is able to. It's a little bit easier for them to guard, and it's a little bit more predictable. And if you can, throw a carry in there, it forces the defense to have to react to what you're doing offensively as opposed to you reacting to what they're doing defensively. So a carry from the base, a la, Kevin Rice and Donahue at Syracuse worked really well for a long time. The 4-man wheel that the Redwoods did, I think that's a very effective play. A lot of college teams are using that right now. And I think that's a great, movement that's pretty simple, and you can do that carrying both ways. All right. So the ultimate lax, what's one skill you would want a high school player to have coming up to the college level in regards to man up? I think a huge level with that would be the ability to manipulate a defense with your hands and your eyes, because there's a little bit of a savviness that has to come into play with man up. So obviously it's nice to have a guy that can, shoot the ball 95 yards from 15 yards away, but not everybody's going to be able to do that. So a player that can, have a skill to be able to manipulate a defense can go a long way to open up his teammates, whether that's being able to cut off ball or, knowing where to position yourself in their rotation. I think that's a very, very difficult thing for a defense to stop. I think I got 2 more questions here, Coach Byrne. Is that right? All right, so we got one question that's, what do you do when we receive a shutoff or somebody gets shut off? So there's a couple of different instances that, people will have different answers. The one thing that I do not like doing is putting the guy up by the midfield line. And I think that just takes him away. More oftentimes than not, they'll shut a guy because he's probably a really good scorer for you or maybe he's the quarterback of your man down. So what I like to do is just bring that guy into the crease, and you can continue to play out of a 3-3 shape, which most teams do anyway right now. And I think a big thing with that is to continue to play and don't panic and freak out, because that's, I think, what the defense might want you to do is, hey, you only have 30 seconds. If we create 10 seconds of panic, then we got to win. So if you can score on those guys and kind of keep it patient, I think you'll be okay in that sense. So, don't freak out, don't panic, and just kind of have guys and have an answer of, hey, if a lefty gets shut off, this is what we go to. If a righty gets shut off, this is, where your positions are. So many coaches have said that they think it's important to score in the first 15 seconds of a play. Where are you with that? So in regards to that, I think some of the most dangerous times in a man down situation is actually right at the end of it, where a defense has their sixth guy that's just releasing over the midfield line and they think that it's over. And I think that's definitely an area where you can attack and score in that situation. I think we had a couple man-up goals there this year, actually. But I think how your plays should be run, if you have like a starter set and a starter play to get you into your motion or where you end up, whether it's a 2-3-1 to a 3-3 or a 1-4 to a 3-3, your initial action should always get you into the spots of where you're going to be when you play the last 20 seconds. So if your first, action takes 10 seconds and then you're into your 3-3 motion or whatever you're playing, a 2-3-1, a 1-4-1, wherever you get to, I think that's where you should end up after your play. Coach Flanagan, can you run this drill sideways? Yes, you can run this drill. You can flip it, and if you want to take cones and put those on the field as well, you can definitely do that. I think that's a great drill to run sideways. It can be a great man-up drill. It could also be a great zone drill. Do you let your players do hitches on man up, or do you stick with the carry, passing, shooting immediately? I think a hitch is a great opportunity. I actually talked about one last week with Miles Jones in the shot show. But I think, the shot show and the step through, it really is going to create an opportunity for you to see a skip, and it's going to create an opportunity for two guys to be committed to one player. So I think that's a great opportunity there. So, and then the last question will be, if you were a high school coach, how much time per day would you spend on extra man? I think that's, depending on how much time you have, I think, 10 to 15 minutes each day. And whether it's straight extra man or doing some small-sided 3v2s or 4v3s or 5v4s, you can learn all of that in everything. All right. So whether it's a 4v3, you can learn from man up in that, but you're also learn how to play lacrosse. So I think that's an important thing of understanding that whether you're working on man up or not, when you're working on a 4v3, you have to be talking about some man-up principles. All right, if it's a 5v4, talking about man-up principles during that time is going to help you guys out. All right, so whether it's, you might say it's not man-up time, but you're actually getting some hidden man-up time in there, I think that's a great opportunity there. So with that being said, I appreciate all you guys tuning in. If I did not answer your question, please shoot me an email or a text message. So please let me know either way. Thank you guys. I really, really appreciate it. And look forward to jumping back on here later this week with you guys.